The most expensive mistakes in a brand new home are the ones you never see because they happen before the drywall goes up. And once it's closed in, they're buried in your walls for the next 30 years. So today we're going to walk through all the 5 stages of a new build, and I'm going to show you exactly what to look for at each one. Hi, I'm Nathan Richter, a licensed real estate agent serving St. Albert and the greater Edmonton area. I've spent 25 years on the construction side of real estate, custom home building, renovations, and currently running a restoration company that handles new home warranty work and condo restoration. So when I talk about what to look for in a new build, I'm bringing both the agent's lens and the builder's eye to the conversation. Let's get into it. Here's why this matters. In my restoration company, a big part of what we do is fix the things that went wrong on homes after people already moved in. So I've seen up close what good construction looks like and what cutting corners looks like once it fails. The good news is that almost every one of these problems is visible while the home is being built if you know which stage to look at and what you're looking for. That is the whole video. 5 stages, what to watch for at each one in plain language. One quick note before we start, everything I cover here is general education. For your own build, confirm the specifics with your builder, your lawyer, and a qualified inspector because every home and every contract is a little different. Stage 1 is the foundation, and this is the stage that protects everything above it from water. Water is the #1 enemy of any home, so this is where you pay attention. Start at the footing and the foundation walls. You want to see weeping tile installed around the base of the foundation. That's the perforated pipe that collects water and carries it away from the house. Over top of that weeping tile, you want ample wash rock, the clean gravel that lets water drain down to the pipe instead of sitting against your wall. On the walls themselves, look for proper waterproofing. Then look at the grading once they've backfilled. The slope of the ground around the home, it should fall away from the foundation, not slope toward it, so that surface water runs away from the house. Here's a quality touch to look for while you're outside. On a better build, you will see solid pipes running underground from the downspouts out toward the street, carrying your roof water away from the house entirely. One important point, that is not the weeping tile. The weeping tile is the perforated pipe down at the footing handling groundwater. These are separate, solid pipes for roof water. You actually do not want your downspouts dumped into the weeping tile ideally, because that can overload the foundation drain. A dedicated line out to the street is the right way to do it, and not every builder does, so it is a good sign when you see it. Inside, before they pour the basement slab, there's a sequence worth understanding, because once that concrete goes down, none of it can be changed. First, the pads under the telepost, the steel posts that carry your main beam, have to be sized and placed correctly. Then across the floor, you want a good layer of wash rock after they've compacted the soil, that clean gravel again. Your perimeter weeping tile should run to a sump pit where a sump pump lifts the water up and out of the house. And on homes with more water to manage, they will even sometimes run extra weeping tile underneath the slab as well. That helps lead the water back to the same sump. Over the wash rock goes a poly vapor barrier, and the seams edges get sealed up with acoustical sealant, so ground moisture cannot wick up into your living space. The building code also requires a radon rough-in, a pipe that sits down in the gravel and runs up through the home so that later you can test for radon gas and, if you ever need to, vent it out without tearing up your floor. Then and only then, the slab gets poured on top of all of it. And of course, proper backfill outside once the walls are ready. Now here's one most people never think about: how the concrete is cured. Concrete does not just dry, it cures, and it needs time and the right conditions to reach full strength. As a general rule, the form should stay on for a minimum of about 10 days. And if the pour happens in an Edmonton winter, the concrete should be heated and hoarded, basically tented and kept warm so it cures properly instead of freezing. A foundation that was rushed or froze during cure is a problem that you cannot easily fix later. Get the foundation right, and you have protected the home from the thing that causes the most expensive damage. Get it wrong, and no amount of nice finishes upstairs will save you. Stage 2 is framing, and this is the most important stage for how your home is sealed and built. This is the skeleton, and almost everything that matters later starts here. First, the studs. A good framer crowns the studs, meaning they read the slight natural bow in each piece of lumber and turn them all the same direction. On a long wall, if a couple of studs are turned the wrong way, you will see it when the wall is finished, a visible bow or a wave in what should be a flat wall. Sight down your long walls and check that they are straight and level. While you're walking it, look at whether things are mapped out and marked, where fixtures, cabinets, and features are going. This is also a good time to ask for extra blocking. Blocking is just an extra wood added inside the wall so you have something solid to fasten to later. Ask for blocking where you want to mount a TV, behind where cabinets will hang, and where you might want grab bars down the road. It costs almost nothing now, and it is a pain to add later. Look at the tie-ins between floors, how the framing connects from one level to the next and up into the attic. Check that the insulation stops, sometimes called baffles, are installed. These keep the blow-in attic insulation from choking off your roof venting. Also, on the engineered floor joists, the ones that look like a little I-beam, those follow strict rules. The crews should never cut or notch the flanges, the top and bottom edges, and point loads should be bearing properly down through the structure. One more framing item that saves headaches: anywhere there is a bump out, like a fireplace or where they rough in a tub or shower, that area gets insulated at this stage and sealed up with acoustical sealant and the vapor barrier overlapping onto the main wall so it all ties in together. If that gets skipped, you can end up with a cold spot or a condensation problem hitting the wall at a later date. And in the basement, here's a detail worth knowing. You want the framed wall held off the concrete, a 2x4 wall offset at least a couple of inches, or even better, a 2x6 wall offset, so there's an air gap behind it. When insulation is jammed tight against the back of a cold concrete wall, you can get condensation building up where you cannot see it. A little air gap lets the wall breathe. One more thing to watch once the insulation and the vapor barrier go on. That poly vapor barrier has to be continuous, sealed at every seam and every penetration. Every electrical box, every wire, every pot light that pokes through it should be sealed up, usually with a poly pan and acoustical sealant. If there are gaps or holes left open, warm moist air from inside the house gets into the wall or the attic, hits the cold side and condenses. You will not see it on possession day, but a year or two down the road, that is how moisture and eventually mold or rot ends up hidden in the assembly. A clean, fully sealed vapor barrier is one of the quiet signs of a careful builder. Framing is where a quality build separates itself. This is the stage I would want eyes on more than any other. Now I want to stop on something that does not get talked about enough. And from my warranty work, it is where I see the most expensive failures of all: the building envelope. The outside skin of your home, your shingles, your siding, your stucco, your stone. This is what keeps water out of the house. And water is the thing that does the real damage. Two things make or break it. First, the trades. Roofing, siding, stucco, stone. Those are specialized trades, and a good builder uses qualified people who do this every single day. Second, and this is the big one, the detailing at the interfaces. In interfaces where any two different materials and two sections of the building meet, where the siding meets the stone, where a wall meets the roof, and most importantly, around every window and every door. That is where water tries to get in, and that is where the detailing has to be perfect. When the flashing and the membranes around the windows and doors are not detailed properly, you get building envelope failures. And these are not small problems. I've personally seen water entering homes within the 5-year envelope warranty period, causing significant damage and significant repairs. From the curb, the house looks beautiful. Behind the cladding, the water is already doing its work. A couple of specific things you can actually look for. Where an exterior door opens onto a deck, you want clearance. That door sill should sit at least 2 inches above the deck surface, and ideally higher, so that water and snow cannot pool up and work their way back under the door. And a really good builder will wrap a vinyl membrane over the door sill before the door even goes in, so that if any water ever gets past it, it is directed back outside instead of into your floor. That last one is a nice to have, not a code requirement, but it is exactly the kind of detail that separates a careful builder from an average one. So when you're looking at a build, look at the outside with the same eyes you bring to the inside. Qualified trades and clean detailing everywhere, two things come together. Get the envelope right, and the home keeps the weather out for decades. Get it wrong, and it is some of the most expensive damage there is. Stage 3 is rough-in. Now the electrical and the plumbing and the heating and ducting all go in before anything else gets covered. This is the cheapest and best time in the entire build to make a change. So this is your big walkthrough. Start with the connections. Everything should look clean and properly joined. Watch the ducting that runs up inside a wall. It should not stick out so far that they cannot finish the drywall flat over it. Otherwise, you end up with a bulge in a finished wall. Here is a more technical one that matters. Anytime plumbing or ducting passes through a floor joist, that hole or notch has to be sized correctly, because cutting too much out of a joist weakens it. For standard solid lumber joists, the building code rule of thumb is that drilled holes are no bigger than about 1/4 of the joist depth, kept at least 2 inches off the top and bottom edges, and notches no deeper than about 1/3 of the joist depth and only on the top edge. For the engineered joists, the ones with an I-beam shape, you follow the manufacturer chart and you never cut the flanges at all. If you see a duct punch through the middle of an engineered joist, that is a flag. Now walk it like you're gonna live in it. Are the plugs where you actually want them? If you have a kitchen island, is the electrical roughed in for it correctly? Go through every bathroom. At this stage, the tubs are usually set. You should see the mold resistant board, the green or cement board in the wet areas, and the insulation should be in. This is the moment to catch anything, because moving an outlet now is easy and cheap, and moving it after drywall in is neither. If you only do one serious walkthrough of your build, make it this one. After this, it all gets covered up. Quick aside, while we're here, I put together a 5-stage new build inspection checklist. The same things I'm walking you through in a simple printable list you can take to your site. If you want it, send me the word stages through any of the contact options in the description, text, email, or call, and I will send it over. Helping people work through this kind of thing is part of what I do, so happy to send it to you. Stage 4 is drywall, sometimes called boarding. By now, the rough-in work is done and inspected, the board is hung, and the joints are taped and mudded. This stage is mostly about consistency and finish quality. Sight down the walls, and if you can, do it in raking light. That's light coming across the wall at an angle, because that is what shows you any bulges, ridges, or visible seams. Check the joints and the corners. You want them crisp and straight with no obvious high spots. Look for fastener pops, screws, or nails showing through, and check that the cutouts around outlets, switches, vents, and pot lights are clean and not oversized, so there are no gaps once the covers go on. If the ceiling is textured, check that the texture is even and it lines up consistently across the room. And again, in the bathrooms and wet areas, you want the moisture-resistant board with cement board behind any area that is getting tile. Drywall is where the home starts to look finished, but the finish is only as good as the work you already confirmed in the stages before it. Stage 5 is the home stretch. Flooring's in, cabinets and countertops are set, paint is done, and the home is ready for your final walkthrough before possession. You will do this formally with your builder, and your job is to document every deficiency you find, noted and signed off together. Now here's something a lot of buyers do not understand, and it's important. Anything you identify at the possession walkthrough becomes a contractual matter between you and your builder. That is separate from the warranty program, which means if something happens, if the builder runs into trouble or goes under, the warranty program will not cover the items you listed on that walkthrough, including things like a fence that's not completed. So that documentation and dealing with the builder who stands behind it really matters. There's also a 1-year walkthrough And my recommendation is to do it at the 11-month mark, not at 12, and here's why. Things like drywall pops and small finishing issues show up over that first year as the houses settle. Doing the walk at, say, month 11 gives you and the builder time to acknowledge and actually fix those items before your 1-year window closes. A good, reputable builder will schedule this for exactly that reason. If you wait past the 1-year mark, your fit and finish claims will not be approved. So the timing is not optional. And quickly, here's how the Alberta New Home Warranty is structured. The 1, 2, 5, and 10 1 year covers fit and finish, your labor and materials, things like trim and flooring. 2 years covers the distribution systems, your electrical, plumbing, heating, and so on. 5 years covers the building envelope, the part that keeps the water out. And 10 years covers the major structural components, the bones of the home. Builders can offer extended envelope coverage as well. Always check your own warranty documents for the specifics. So that is all 5 stages: foundation, framing, rough-in, drywall, and your final walkthrough. If you watch your build at these stages and you have someone in your corner who knows what they are looking at, you give yourself the best shot at a home that was built to last. And that is really the whole point. If you're thinking about building, the smartest first move is to have someone representing you and not the builder. On a new build, the builder pays the commission, not you, so you get someone fully in your corner through the whole process. If that is something you want to talk through, reach out by text, email, or give me a call. The info is in the description. If this was useful, give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We put out new videos every week. And if you want that 5-stage checklist, comment or message stages and I'll get it to you as soon as possible. See you in the next one.